This should not have worked. Two men walked into an enemy army's camp, alone, and in the middle of the night, killed the king in his sleep, stole his prized grand horses, and rode out before anyone even woke up. And no, this is not the Trojan Horse. You probably already know that one. This is the raid that happens right before it, buried in book 10 of the Iliad, and almost nobody talks about it. Which is a shame, of course, because it might be the single ballsiest thing anyone's ever done in the entire poem. So here's the setup. It's the 9th year of the Trojan War, and the Greeks are having the worst night of the whole conflict. Hector and the Trojan army just push them all the way back to their ships, and instead of retreating to the city to rest, Hector camps his entire army right outside the Greek lines, campfires burning across the whole plain, because he's planning to finish them off and burn the ships at dawn. Nobody on the Greek side can sleep. Agamemnon can't sleep. Menelaus can't sleep. So, in the middle of the night, the Greek commanders quietly wake each other for an emergency war council. And the problem on the table is simple. Nobody has any idea what Hector's actually planning. Is he attacking at the first light? Is he pulling back? Somebody needs to sneak into the Trojan camp tonight and find out. And whoever volunteers gets a small fortune in gifts, and more importantly, will be remembered forever. Diomedes, one of the fiercest fighters in the whole army, volunteers immediately. He's allowed to pick a partner for this mission, and every big name in the tent puts a hand up. Diomedes skips all of them. He picks Odysseus. Not the strongest fighter available, but the smartest one. And here's the part that makes this whole night so ridiculous. At the exact same time, Hector is having the exact identical idea. He wants a scout to sneak into the Greek camp and find out if they're guarding their ships closely, or if they're already panicking and planning to run. To get a volunteer, Hector offers an enormous reward, Achilles' own immortal war horses and chariot, the finest war horses of the entire war. He's offering a prize he doesn't even own yet, which tells you everything about how sure he is that he's already won. The guy who eventually takes the bait for Hector is a random fella named Dolon. Rich, not much of a fighter, and by every account in the poem, kind of a coward. But he wants those horses badly enough to go alone into no man's land at night, wearing a wolf pelt and a weasel skin cap so he can move low and quiet, like an animal. So now, you got two search parties heading toward each other in the pitch dark, both spying on the other side, and neither one has any idea the other one exists. However, Odysseus and Diomedes spot him first. They let him get close, then they cut off his escape route and run him down in the open field between the two camps. Diomedes throws his spear just past his head, not to kill him, but to stop him, and Dolon freezes and starts begging. He offers a ransom, bronze, gold, iron, whatever his rich father has. Just please don't kill him, he says. Odysseus does something he's very good at. He starts asking questions. Calm, easy questions. Like, what are you doing out here? What is Hector planning? Where exactly is everyone camped? And Dolon, who is terrified, completely convinced that talking is what is going to save his life, and tells them everything. The full layout of the Trojan lines, where every allied contingent is stationed, and then, almost as an afterthought, he mentions the new arrival from the same night, a Thracian king named Rhesus, camped a little apart from everyone else, with the most beautiful horses anyone in the army has ever seen, whiter than snow, fast as wind, and gold armor to match. His men marched in exhausted. Nobody's guarding the camp properly yet. And eventually, Dolon gives up every piece of information he has. But then Diomedes kills him anyways. And Homer doesn't soften it either. Dolon is described reaching up to touch Diomedes' chin, which was an ancient gesture for a sign of mercy, but Diomedes cuts him down mid-plea. He talked because he thought talking would save him. It didn't buy him a single extra second. If that sounds familiar, it's the same ugly math behind every forced confession we've covered on this channel. The promise of mercy is the entire reason people talk, and the promise never has to be kept. So, with Dolon's intel in hand, Odysseus and Diomedes go straight for the Thracian camp, and it's exactly what Dolon had described. Rhesus and his man, sound asleep in neat rows, weapons stacked beside them, completely unguarded, brand new to the war and paying for it already. Well, you could probably guess what happens next. Diomedes goes through the camp with a sword. Homer compares him to a lion that's wandered into an unguarded flock. 12 Thracian soldiers, one after another, in their sleep. Rhesus himself is described as having a nightmare about a man standing over him in the exact moment Diomedes kills him. Either an incredible detail or an incredibly dark joke. Take your pick. But while Diomedes works through the camp, Odysseus is dragging bodies aside by the feet, clearing a path so the horses, who are completely unused to stepping over the corpses, won't spook or blow the whole thing. They untie Rhesus' horses, and according to a Greek play written not long after the Iliad, dramatizing this exact same thing, there was a prophecy hanging over the horses. If they ever grazed on Trojan grass, or if they drank from the river outside the city, Troy could never be conquered. Well, whether or not that detail goes all the way back to Homer, the timing is the whole point. Odysseus and Diomedes get the horses out of Troy the same night they arrive, before the prophecy ever gets the chance to get filled. Odysseus and Diomedes mount up and ride back to the Greek camp. Almost immediately, a Trojan side god notices what's happened and wakes up Rhesus' kinsmen, who find his king dead and start screaming the alarm across the whole entire camp. But by then, Odysseus and Diomedes are long gone, and are already flying across the plain on the fastest horses in the entire war, and nobody can catch them. They ride into the Greek camp as the sun's coming up. Nestor is the first one to hear the hoofbeats in the dark, and for 1 second thinks it might be the Trojans, before he recognizes them. Then it's all a full hero's welcome. They wash the blood in the sea, and the whole camp ends up drinking wine in Odysseus' tent to celebrate. 2 guys, 1 night, an enemy king dead in its own camp, an entire allied contingent wiped out before they even fought a single battle, and the best horses in the war now belong to the Greeks. So all in all, where does this land on the tier list? Now I would say A tier, not because it was clean. I mean, it genuinely wasn't. They killed a man who tried to save his own skin by snitching, but they pulled all this off with basically nothing. There was no army, there was no plan, except just to sneak in, get information, and get right out. 2 men against a war camp full of soldiers, and they came back with king's horses and intelligence that reshaped the war, and nobody laid a hand on them. And if you think a 3,200-year-old knight raid doesn't belong on the modern crime tier list, well, tell me in the comments. I'll see you guys next time.